Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're going to talk today about in-service non-hardship withdrawals. This is a very beneficial and informative webinar about a subject matter that can make a big difference in your business. So we are going to have the coach, Dave Pemper, is going to be joining us soon. He's going to talk a little bit about his experience. He's going to talk a little bit about the ins and outs of in-service non-hardship withdrawals, and we'll probably talk a little bit too about some of the ways that you can display your new knowledge to more clients, more prospects. So should be a good webinar today. There will be a couple of polls that will pop up. If you hit yes or no on those as quickly as possible, that helps everybody and keeps everything moving right along. Also, if you have any questions, type them in. We'll try and get them asked and answered as quickly as we can. My name is Steve Murray, I'm Executive Vice President here at IAMS, and just want to make sure that we always have the right training to help you be successful. And so we'll do some pretty regular webinars, as you all know. For those of you that don't know, you can look on our website, on our YouTube, and see all the back editions of the webinars that we do, so you can learn about all kinds of things on your own time and at your own pace. So let's go ahead and get started today. I want to make sure we're keeping them moving along in the interest of taking care of everybody's time. So we've got a number of new folks on with us today, so I want to mention a couple of programs that we have. We send checks out regularly on these two programs. One is marketing reimbursement. It's a very simple program. All the business that you do gets put into a pool. Chris Ramel keeps accounting of it, and basically there's a marketing reimbursement account that gets built up for you. When you spend money on your marketing to build your business, we will match that spend dollar for dollar. So whether you're doing creative stuff with us or doing mailings or doing stuff for your client, whatever it is that you use to grow your business, we will reimburse you for that. Secondly, the RPM program, Referred Producer Money, a very simple program, and it's really been kind of the backbone of how we've grown our business here at IAMS, is via referrals. And what we've done over the last 7 or 10 years is we've rewarded those referrals with a bonus from IAMS. So pretty simple program. Again, when you give us a name of someone that you think might be a beneficial member of the IAMS family, what we do is we send out to them the contracts. If they get contracted, we'll send you a check for $50. If they start doing business, that's when the real money starts for you, because we send out checks every quarter. In some cases, we do them monthly, depending on the amounts of the checks that are bonuses based on their production that we pay to you. So basically, we pay about a 20 basis point payout to you, depending on the product type. That's on the annuity side, as for instance. So if they write a $100,000 case, then you get a $200 check for that, and that's ongoing for as long as they're associated with IAM. So those get to be some pretty good checks after a while if you're keeping your eye open for people that might be a good fit with the IAMS team. So hope you'll look at the referrals and referral bonus and refer anyone that you think might fit well with IAMS. We'd really appreciate that. Referrals, as I mentioned, has kind of been the backbone of our growth. So really, there's a new producer. As I mentioned, we got a pretty good bunch of you on here that are just relatively new with us. So in your first 180 days of being appointed with IAMS, you can select different new producer builders. They're a pretty simple program. You can see the options there in front of you. I don't need to go through them one by one. What I will add to that is, besides those opportunities, you can also, if there's something custom that you would like us to put together for you, I mean, the bottom line is that we're spending that money, and so if you have an idea or something you would like us to do that would help you more specifically and you think be more beneficial, we're certainly open to that. But you can see too that we have some things that are just straight incentives. So we got a Ritz-Carlton travel package, an iPad, all the cash bonuses, money going into marketing reimbursement. So there's a lot of different ways that we reward you as a new producer in the IAMS family. We know that once you get to know us well, you want to do more business with us. We really take good care of your business, and we'll talk about that later. So I did want to mention the academies. I'm going to shoot up a quick poll here while I'm going over it. So if you can just look at some of the things that we talk about really quick, and I'll get this poll ready and out. Because what I want you to do once this poll comes out is let us know whether you'd like more information on attending the Life and Annuity Academy. There we go. Okay, I'm going to launch that. So as you read through the things on there, what you probably noted is kind of the centerpiece from our standpoint, is we do have 4 top producers that come and they'll talk about seminars, they'll talk about mailing systems, they'll talk about product positioning opportunities that maybe you weren't aware of. So there's a lot of good things that we go over at our academies from those 4 top producers. Besides that, we'll get into some product stuff, not a lot, but we go through a lot of sales and marketing stuff. So tools to help you grow your marketing, things that we do here that could be beneficial to you, ideas from our other producers that have worked on the sales and marketing side. So if you're coming and you want to learn about, for instance, how indexed annuities work or how indexed life insurance products work, this is probably not the right fit for you because though we do spend a little bit of time kind of talking about what's new and shiny in the product field, that's not really what we spend most of the time talking about. So keep that in mind when you're considering whether you might want to go join us at the next academy or two. We do go over quite a bit of in the way of software tools and solutions that can help you. We talk a little bit about some of the things that we can do here at IAMS from a sales and marketing perspective, kind of on the creative side, software tools, everything that we can do to kind of help you grow your business. And almost everybody comes away from those academies with a couple of really great ideas that they can put in force right away without much trouble, and then some longer range ideas, whether it's want to get in the seminar business or radio or new product push that they can do with their current clientele. Those things also come up. So when you leave, you'll have a binder, and that binder will have all the slides, and you'll have been able to take some notes along the way. And so that it'll catapult your business. I can almost guarantee it. I've seen it time and time again. We've been doing these for 15 years at our expense for a reason, because they work and because we know we can help producers get into the level of business that they want to get into. So we'd like you, if you're interested, if you'd like to come to an academy, check yes on that. And what'll happen when you check yes is that you'll get an agenda, and it's a day-by-day agenda. Next one coming up is September 18th through the 20th. So it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so it'll give you a day-by-day, hour-by-hour agenda, and you can look at that and kind of get an idea. Now, the agenda's changed a little bit, but there's not going to be a lot of variation. We're talking about the same stuff, and we have been at the same level of success for a couple of years here. And so the agenda will be in there for you. And then there's also a registration form. And so you get 2 things from us. If registration is something that you want to send in, if after you look at the agenda, you say, okay, I want you to call me as the academies come up. We'll probably have 2 more yet this year. We've had 2 already. We'll probably have 2 more yet this year. And so if you want to be included in that academy for upcomings, then you need to return that agenda, or not the agenda, the registration form to us. So if you hit yes, you'll get an email. That email will have the agenda, hit up a registration form. If you look at it, send me back that registration, send it back to your sales director, and we'll get you aboard and get you up and rolling with us for one of our upcoming academies. As I mentioned, we take care of your expenses. So we'll take care of your air travel. If you're driving, we'll reimburse your travel expenses. We'll take care of your hotel. We'll take care of your meal, and of course, social hour we'll take care of as well. So what the cost to you is 3 days out of your office. I know that's a real cost, but I think when you come away, I've never had anybody leave that wasn't over the top about all the information that they got and the things that they could employ to grow their business. So it's time well spent. I know there's some folks on with us today that have been to academies in the last couple of years. I know there's opportunity certainly to bring you back if that's something that could really help you. We can talk about that. Go ahead and hit yes on that poll if that's the case for you. That being said, we do like to leave as much open to new folks as we possibly can. So if you have any questions, give me a call here at the office. You see the number there, 800-255-5055. It looks like we have an old date on there. It's only up for 2019 dates and locations. We'd love to have you join us. So a few of you have not voted. I'm going to assume that's because you have no interest, which is just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and close that poll out. If for some reason you were unable to vote and you wanted to, simply call me here at the office. If you want to be included, I'll be glad to get you out that email with the registration form. Okay, let's get moving right along here. So with Ritz-Carlton, that's coming right up. For those of you, and I know there's some of you on with us today that have interest in and still are on the cusp of qualifying. Qualification ends in June, so only your business that gets paid by the end of June will count. It takes $3 million to qualify. We're going to be at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton Naples. I've heard nothing but the best things about that property. It's going to be a great time right on the beach. We'll do a little golf. We'll spend some time on the beach, probably do some traveling through the Everglades on airboats and all that fun stuff. So we're going to have a great time down there. We'd love to have you join us, you and your guest. That includes your guest, by the way. So if you're on the cusp and you need some help qualifying, just give our team a call and let us help you. Okay, here we go. Dave, are you with us? If you are, you need to hit your mute on your microphone or unmute on your microphone, and we'll get rolling here. And so while Dave is getting aboard with us, I'm going to talk a little bit about non-hardship withdrawals. That's what Dave's going to talk about. But I'm going to give you a little history on David, just so that you know. Dave has been in the business since early 1981. He does both securities and insurance products. He's been one of our top producers on the insurance product side since we met him about 13, 14 years ago. In fact, it was at one of our top producers' escapes that he and I spoke, and he mentioned his coaching services, and since then he's been coaching almost exclusively for us, besides helping us with just training opportunities like information we're going to go over today. He also does seminars. He also has a radio show as well that he promotes and does a great job for some of our top producers on that. He has seminars around qualified funds, retiree mistakes, Social Security claiming. I think that's it right now. And of course, obviously, Social Security claiming has been very, very popular here over the last 3 or 4 years and met with tremendous results. So a lot of good things happening there. It's great to have a producer aboard and doing these types of meetings that's actively producing. And Dave is certainly that. Beyond being a top producer on the insurance side, he's also securities licensed and a supervisor at the supervisory level, and he has a number of folks that he works with us through the broker dealer, through Calton with his broker dealer that he supervises as well. So a well accomplished individual. He's up to, I think as of tonight, he will be just over 500 public seminars that he has done, and he's been doing radio for about the past 13 years. So that's Dave Pimper in a nutshell. I see that he is trying to get aboard with us here right now. I'm going to put you all on hold and see if I can find out what the technical difficulty may be. Hold on just one moment. Okay, just spoke with Dave. He is indeed in the middle of just a mild technical difficulty. Jacob, who in our office is helping him, says he should be aboard with us in a minute or so we should be in good shape there. As you can see before us on the screen, if you're tuning in the screen, which I know most of you are, we've got a definition for the in-service withdrawal distribution opportunity on 401ks. Bottom line is that once people hit 59 and a half, many of their plans do allow for them to take in-service withdrawals without the normal hardship provision that has been required for many years. So what Dave is going to talk about today is the opportunities that can open up for you in talking with your client. So what he's going to let you know is that almost every client that you talk to, if they have a 401k, that's a question that you want to ask them. Is the in-service non-hardship withdrawal always going to be appropriate for them? Dave will talk about that a little bit here shortly as well. The bottom line is no, but may it sometimes be appropriate within a diversified portfolio to move some funds out of where they're currently at to some other vehicles that might potentially fit their needs a little bit better? That's certainly the case. And we'll talk about the process of how you find out whether a non-hardship withdrawal is available on the plan. But the bottom line is that when the opportunity first started rising years back, very few plans had that provision in them. Now most do. Most of the participants, most of your potential clients and prospects are by far not aware that they even have the opportunity to do that. Once introduced to the option, of course, quite often they're open to it. As you may remember, a lot of the push to be able to do non-hardship in-service withdrawals was a product of what happened with, for instance, the Enrons and the WorldComs of years and years ago. We had some personal experience. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry to interrupt there.
No problem. We were just talking a little bit about what kind of was the nascence of why in-service non-hardship withdrawals came about, and we were talking a little bit about Enron and WorldCom and how so many people had all of their money locked up in just very narrow and focused investments, and unfortunately, it was a major detriment to their retirement portfolios. In fact, devastating.
Yep.
And so the ability to diversify was a lot of why we have in-service non-hardship withdrawals now. So I went over the definition a little bit. We're on slide 1. Are you able to view? All right.
Absolutely. I've got it right here.
Perfect.
And if you can give me the controls. And, you know, folks, this is, sorry, I was a little bit late getting on, just coming out of an appointment. And what happens here is that this is going to be not a long webinar. It might be about 20 minutes or so, but it's some really good information. So, Steve, I'll see if
you got them.
Those old. Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
You bet.
So Steve had gone through a little bit about the definition of an in-service non-hardship withdrawal. So what I want to do now is just talk about kind of 5 thoughts, 5 rules about in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans. I'll tell you right now, if you're not using this to market your business, you're making just a huge tactical error. And the reason is because people don't know they have availability of those funds once they're 59 and a half. It isn't for everybody, but like Steve was talking about, the Enrons of the world, some of the telecom companies of the world, General Motors of the world. I mean, when they went bankrupt, you know, people able to take that money out and diversify it outside of that company and still work for them. So let's go in and let's talk about some thoughts here. First of all, normally you have to be 59 and a half to participate. So if you're 57, 58, it normally isn't going to work, okay? What happens is it's not just the 401k, but 403bs, 457s, the TSP plans, thrift savings programs with the federal government. All of those have availability if it's in the blueprint. So there most of the time, all of the assets are available, but there's sometimes just the money that you put in. Sometimes the company match will not be available. I know, like with the United States Post Office, if you take all or a portion of the money out, but if you take all of it out, then the participant has to wait 6 months to start that plan again. So we normally leave some money that's in there. So that's all done by asking the custodian, meaning of the Fidelity or the Vanguard or the Capital Guardian, American Funds, Mutual of Omaha, Principal Group. All those are big custodians, Mass Mutual custodians in this business. It's easier just to call them with the client on the phone or your prospect on the phone and ask them. They will know. When you take money out, as long as it's a direct transfer of monies, there will be no 20%. You could have that check mailed to the individual, made out to him. They have 60 days to roll it over, but now 20% will be held out for taxation, even though it's not taxable. You got to, if it's $100,000, you got to find 20 grand from a personal savings or a personal account to pay to make it whole, which most people do not want to do. Sometimes you need spousal consent. Most of the times you do not. If you have 401k, if you have loans against that, they have to be paid off first. This really doesn't come up much, but it's called the Bake Rule, 2-year Bake Rule. Got to work 2 of the last 5 years. Everybody that I work with has worked there for years and years and years. Remember, it's like any other rollover. It's a tax-free rollover. Once it's in the account, then it's tax deferred. And why do people do it? More options, especially guaranteed options. My gosh, you have a stable income fund that's a dollar principal, not guaranteed, but it's like money market. It's most likely not going to move any, not even a penny. The average return on those for the last 5 years have averaged not even 1.5%. I have found that the fixed indexed annuity strategy, which I do my share of, about 20-25% of my business is fixed indexed. What happens is that when you got a cap of 5% or maybe 5.5% or even 6%, my gosh, I mean the chance of you making more than 1.5%, 2%, 2.5%, 3% is high. It's high. It's very likely. So people really like that idea of having, especially at that age after 59 and before they retire, to have a little more preservation within their account. Yeah, just the other options in having choices for the prospect. That's what people really, really like. If you have any questions, type them on in. We'll be more than happy to answer those for you. So you got to ask yourself, really, why do companies offer this? Why do they offer an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan? Well, I'm going to tell you that it's, there's several reasons. But one of the reasons is that it's to be competitive. Okay? So I got to go forward. I'm sorry here. So it's to be competitive. So if a person, when they have got quite a bit of money in that plan, they don't want to feel like they're held hostage to go on in and to make, with that company. If they're able to move that money out to an individual IRA and they have that option, they can't come back from a liability standpoint and say, my gosh, the market went down profusely. You never had a good guarantee for me to put it in. So the first thing is to be competitive, but I also think what happens is that it's about employer liability. They aren't nearly as liable normally when there's an in-service non-hardship withdrawal, and a lot more people. I just talked to the person yesterday. I mean, he was with American Family Insurance Company. He was an adjuster for them, worked for them for almost 38 years, and now he works for the local OPPD, Omaha Public Power District, and doesn't make near the money, about half the money, but he works about 10, 12 hours a week. Well, what happens, some of those people want to work at their company, but they want to have control of their money before the age of 66. Normally at 66, you do have control of your money to roll it out, even if you're working there, but here it starts at 59 and a half. Okay, any questions? Certainly, bring it up, and we'll be more than happy to go in and answer those for you. In-service non-hardship withdrawals is something that isn't talked about very often, but I will tell you this: once you start working with it, it really opens up some doors for you. So what are the advantages? I mean, well, for the client, you have different investment choices, guaranteed choices, different asset allocation classes. I tell you, when your money's with the company, you don't have full control. When you have an individual retirement account, you're in control of your money. When you're in a 401k or a company retirement plan, normally there's not much one-on-one guidance or advice. You certainly have that when you work with an individual producer. Think about guaranteed income type plans, like fixed index or fixed that has a guaranteed minimum benefit withdrawal. Well, what happens is that they just don't have that type of thing with the 401k, and it makes them much, much more competitive. You can stretch with the 401k, but a lot of companies won't allow you. The majority of the companies won't allow you. And the reason why? Yeah, it's because they have to put time into it, and the person is no longer there, no longer employed, no longer giving a benefit to that company. Of course, you can stretch, easily inherit an individual RIA. Are there disadvantages? Yeah, maybe you're familiar with the funds that are in that Fidelity or Vanguard plan. Costs could be higher or lower. How much cost is there in a fixed annuity? Zero cost. There's a stated interest rate. There's surrender charges, but there's no internal cost. If you don't have a income rider on a fixed index, how much cost is there? None. If you have a cap. There could be a spread, but there's not an internal cost per se where you could not make money in that year. Some people like to have all their money in one 401k account. I had one a couple of weeks ago that, and I couldn't pry them of that idea, but some people do like that. And there is normally some minimal cost to transfer the money out, maybe 25, 50 bucks. So here's kind of the step-by-step, a little sales process of going in with the 401k. All right? So here's, let me go back on this real quick. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself there. You got to get the statement. And on that statement, it's going to be a phone number. So let's say it's a Mass Mutual statement or principal statement or Fidelity statement. You're going to get the statement. It shows $500,000 in their 401k. That person's 59 and a half or over. Okay, and let's say you don't know. You've not worked at that company before. You ask them, do you have a 59 and a half rule to go in and transfer money out and still work for the firm or the in-service non-hardship withdrawal? They will probably know that. You call the plan sponsor, right with the client on there, and you just go in and you ask, is a plan available? And I would say if it's a big plan, there's a 70, 80% chance it's available. If it's a smaller plan, there's probably a 40, 50% chance. But if it's available, and I normally ask them ahead of time, if you had some options to work with part or all your money, would you have some interest to know what those options are? Well, it's a softball thrown at them. Of course they're interested. To at least see what it is. So you haven't made any kind of commitment yet. But now you want to go in and make sure they'll do partial distributions, see what's available, and you ask all the stuff. How long they've been there. And what you're trying to do is make their portfolio better. That's the goal, is to make it better than what they have right now, and most people are open for that. Judge Billings learned a hand from the United States Second Court of Appeals, says anyone may so arrange his affairs that his taxes shall be as low as possible. Nobody owes any public duty to pay more than the law demands, and that's why a transfer is a non-taxable event. It goes into a direct rollover, not an indirect rollover where it's made out to the individual. You can do that, but they're going to take 20% out of a company retirement plan like a 401k, and you have to make that back up, that 20% within 60 days, or that'll just be a taxable event on that 20%. So we like direct rollovers or direct transfers. Transfers tax-free. There's a lot of benefits. There's continued tax deferral. No doubt you have more options with your money outside of the 401k than you do inside of it. You can certainly consolidate also with IRAs. There are mandatory distributions at 70.5 RMDs, required minimum distributions. But you have control over your money completely, which you don't in a 401k. And there's a better chance of inheriting or stretching that savings that you have. If you talk about losses, and I know that a lot of folks here do business with insurance for protection, but if you have a 10% loss your first year in an investment, or say it's a gain, 10% gain first year, 10% gain the second, 10% gain the third, and 10% loss the fourth. A lot of people think you got to give back 20%. You got to give back 34% in the fifth year to average 10% a year. Remember, a 50% loss takes a 100% gain to get back to even. A 10% loss takes an 11% gain. But if you don't lose, you don't got to make a red cent to get back to even. And that's where I think that the fixed indexed and the fixed product really plays an important role of some type of guarantee when the person gets towards that more preservation stage. I always used to say that accumulation stage is by far the longest. My mom's 95 and has a 95-year-old boyfriend. They've been dating for 8 years. Dean Pearson is his name. He was a farmer for 33 years. You know what? He's been retired a year longer than he worked. He's been retired for 34, and he's been was a farmer for 33 years. Is that just wild? Yeah, unbelievable. but the power of the guarantee is powerful. And something I made up. I call it. It's not how good the good years are. It's how good the bad years are. How true is that? The good years take care of themselves, but we have to take care of the bad years for our client. Will Rogers says it's not the return on my investment that I'm concerned about, it's the return of my investment. How true is that in a really bad year? You know, I've done, actually, this is a little bit outdated. I did my 499th public workshop yesterday, and I'm doing my 500th public workshop tomorrow. We have a seminar system that's on in-service non-hardship withdrawals. There certainly has to be an area where you know that there are companies, and normally big companies, that have that type. It's a very, very direct type of marketing. But I help that. I mean, I do a lot of Social Security marketing. We've got a radio show called Retirement Boss Radio that IAMS and I, meaning I'm the coach for IAMS. We have just introduced that, and we're promoting it now. We've got about, I think there's 6 or 7 different cities throughout the U.S. that already have Retirement Boss Radio. We hope we can add on a lot more here in the next 6 months and 12 months. But I'm in full production, so I'm just like, I can relate to you. But I coach people for marketing, just like I would here, you know, from the lead generation of in-service non-hardship withdrawals. If you just ask every single client, every single prospect, do you have a 59.5 rule? They'll say, what? An in-service non-hardship withdrawal? What? I mean, they don't even know they have that availability to their monies. You're letting them know that. And you being the first one, you normally are the first one to be able to work with it. You know, there's a lot to think about today. I love the thinker. I have the thinker. I have a guy's man cave that I smoke a cigar or two in. And I have the thinker that's down there. I love that. But there's a lot to think about when it comes to how you market your business. This is a tough business, and you have to give people ideas of what they can do with their money that maybe they have never have thought of before, and in-service non-hardship withdrawals can be that exact thing. Procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Tomorrow, you know what? Tomorrow never comes, does it? If you heard something today, not this slide, but after the next slide, we're going to put a poll up if you'd like to get more information on in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans. But I'll kind of end on this for the slides, is that it goes on here and it says, an investment in knowledge pays the very best interest. Isn't that the truth? Ben Franklin said that. So, Steve, are you on the line now or not? I don't think Steve is back yet, but will be. So hold on just for one. Oh, there he is, I guess.
I am here, Dave. How are you?
Good. So what we'd like to do is to put up the poll to see if people have an interest of getting more information, talk a little bit more about in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, of how it can maybe increase your production. But you know what? It's marketing in general, Steve, and you know this. The most successful people are someone that normally have a marketing plan, okay? And that marketing plan could be just on an ongoing basis asking for referrals. It could be on an ongoing basis going in and asking about in-service non-hardship withdrawals. It could be a seminar system like in-service non-hardship withdrawals or Social Security or 401k IRA rollovers. It could be a radio program, an hour radio show every single week. But what happens is the big producers in this business, they have a marketing plan that is they're consistent with it, they're persistent with it, and they're not that there can't be some stumbles along the way, but what our business is getting in front of a lot of folks. Like last night, I had a Social Security workshop. I got in front of 27 people. There was 21 buying units, and we got 9 appointments. 9 appointments, and I have another one tomorrow night. It's a little bit smaller. The amount we got I think we have about 20 people that are coming, but I'm sure I'll get 4, 5, 6 appointments. And you know, when you've got another 12, 13 appointments to talk to in the next 2, 3 weeks, and plus last weekend I got 3 appointments from the radio show. I would love to talk with a brand new person every single working day, and that's pretty much my goal, which I have met for months and months and months, even years. So if we can help you with in-service non-hardship withdrawal information, mark yes. If we can help you with any kind of marketing help within your practice, you need to mark yes, and we will contact you and give you ideas of what's available and maybe how we can help you. Steve, are there any questions at all that came on up?
Yeah, there were a couple questions, Dave, and so you weren't aboard yet when I mentioned to the folks that you do some other things, seminars, and I mentioned that you do a seminar where you actually talk about qualified funds and RMDs and in-service stuff. Can you just briefly touch on that seminar, what you do and how it works, and maybe the ins and outs of that?
Yeah, Steve, since I put that together and we got it fin reviewed, since I did it, I think it's a beautiful workshop. Yeah, no, it's good. It is good though. That 401k, RMDs. Steve, you know this. We have some webinars on strictly on RMDs. It's amazing of how few people really understand the ins and outs of required minimum distributions. We talk about that in this 401k workshop. In-service non-hardship withdrawals, we talk about that in this 401k workshop, rollover workshop. Inherited IRAs or stretch IRAs, we talk about it. Finding the right beneficiaries, we talk about it. We talk about the difference of direct and indirect rollovers. And so what happens is it's all around that evolving money in that status from the ages of 59, 60 to maybe 65, 66, 67, the people that are in transitioning from working to not working, transitioning maybe from working full-time to part-time, transitioning from wage income to Social Security income. When you work with people or talk to people that are in transition, I'm telling you what, they're more open to suggestions because this is a very important time in their life financially, and they don't want to make a mistake. Working with an advisor doesn't guarantee there could be a mistake, but it certainly puts it in their favor that things are going down the right road. So it's a very good workshop. I do that in the Social Security workshop as many as any that have available it's called the IM seminar series. We've got 5 or 6 seminars that we do, but the Social Security and the 401k IRA rollover seem to be the most popular and certainly have been the most successful.
Well, I know that probably if you were looking at those seminars, I would guess non-hardship withdrawals from 401ks are probably one of the subject matter that probably it drums up the most interest and the most potential for business. Because I've listened to your radio show a couple of times now, and you almost always mention non-hardship withdrawals. So I'm guessing you find that to be the same thing from your radio show as well.
It is, yeah. And we have a standalone seminar, but what happens is unless you can say it's IBM and you can mail just to IBM employees, or it's it's Boeing only to Boeing employees, that's hard to do. So normally you'll go into an area kind of scattergun approach, mail out to tons, and but say say you're in a big area and there's 4 companies that are within 10 miles of each other, you find out if they do in-service non-hardship withdrawals, then you say for IBM, Boeing, Kellogg's, Hormel, even though Hormel I know doesn't, it's local, but say for employees, you have this option. And that's a kind of scattered, but then it gets real narrow with those companies. But the 401k is much more of a catch-all that we talk to people about. So yeah, what, Steve? You got to keep swinging.
You do.
If you're not swinging, you're not hitting. If you're not hitting, you're not getting on base. If you're not getting on base, you're not getting any runs. In our business, runs is the compensation that comes back to us for doing a real good job for our client. But one of the neat things about IAMS, you've invested heavily, and you have for many years now, on finding marketing avenues with coaches that can help them through that to be successful in this business.
Yeah, and you know how I feel about having the coaching that goes along with it. I don't think we're doing our guys a service if we're not providing that one-on-one A to Z, because there's just too many potentials for mistakes. And even around non-hardship withdrawals and understanding that and understanding the opportunity and understanding the pitfall or two. I mean, there's just an opportunity for mistakes if it's not something you do every day like you do. So I do appreciate what
No,
you've done for us. Yeah.
you're exactly right. And you know what, Steve, I'll make an analogy on this real quick. And certainly, if you would like us to get a hold of you, just mark yes, and we certainly will. But you know what? And you've heard me say this before about that swing set I was trying to put together, on Christmas Eve night. And and we had all the plans, all the blueprints, everything right there how to put it together. Supposed to take like an hour and 15 minutes. I mean, it took us like 3 hours and a couple bottles of wine to do it. But you know what? If there would have been someone there with us that had done this over and over and over again, we might have put it up in 30 minutes or 45 minutes. That's what I do. Yep. I go in and help coach that person through the process. Not that they couldn't, trial and error, learn on themselves, but most FMOs, they'll have mentors that you go watch be successful, but normally they don't spend the time with the producer. I do, and that's one of the neat relationships that IAMS and myself have, is that and there's a cost for that, but you know what, Steve, that's been rewarding, because if the producer is successful, then the FMO is successful.
Yeah, from our standpoint, we consider that investment that we make, where we pay most of the cost, that's the best investments that we make. We know we're working with folks that are interested in growing their business and marketing, which is really the cornerstone of success in the business. And so we're willing to do anything that we need to help, because as you mentioned, their success is our success, and we're all walking down the same path together here at IAMS, as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
There was a question from Ben, and Benjamin's question was, and did you say at some point that the employee had to move their money out of their 401k at age 66?
No, what I was saying was, at the age of 66, anybody should be able to take all or part of their money out of the company retirement plan. So at 66, it's just like it's a 59.5 rule, but it comes in at 66 for everybody. That's what I have found.
Right, and most non-hardship withdrawal opportunities kick in at age 59.5.
That's right. Yeah, it actually can go down as low as 50, but I've only seen like one time it was below 59.5.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I think we've answered all of the questions. I don't know if there's anything that you want to add. We've got a lot of folks very attentive right now listening. Is there anything that you, besides asking everybody to vote one more time, is there anything that we can, anything we should finish up?
I just want to, every producer that's on the line with us, and we have a bunch of people today wanting to find out information about in-service non-hardship withdrawals. But you know what? Time is money. When you take time out of the field, then you certainly are not going in and contacting people or writing business. But hopefully you can take some information here. If you talk to us, get some more information, that you're able to be a better, more rounded advisor. And what's interesting is that all the knowledge in the world doesn't get you in front of more people. Great marketing and great marketing systems do. You put those two things together, and it can really, truly, really up your game. So looking forward to speaking with a lot of folks. I know IAMS is also, and we'll keep this poll open for like 10 more seconds. And Steve, I'll let you kind of close it up here.
Great, Dave. Thank you. And I know you had a lot of things going on with your seminar, Social Security seminar last night. Congratulations on some great results there.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks. Yeah.
And I appreciate all your help here today. Thanks for joining us. Sorry about the technical difficulty. I feel like that was probably on our end.
No big deal.
No big deal. Good. So I wanted to make sure that we thanked all of our attendees here today as well. Thank you for joining us. As I've mentioned a time or two, if you've listened to me, we really value the folks that we work with that are always trying to up their knowledge level and help their clients more and do the things they need to do to be successful. You're exactly the folks that we're wanting to work with. So please let us know what we can do to help you and help you grow your business. We are all, as I mentioned, kind of walking the same walk. So we're at your disposal. Thank you for taking some time out today. I'm going to close that poll up. I want to thank you all for taking some time out of your schedules today on a busy Tuesday morning in the beginning of the summer. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that you could be doing. So we appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule today. Have a great finish to your sales week, and we look forward to being of assistance in any way that we can here. If you have any questions, give us a call at the office at 800-255-5055. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.